it's still kind of mind blowing that 9-10 years later that the opportunity is still there, right?
Hey, welcome back to the Amazing Freedom Amazon Seller Podcast. It is snowing heavily here in Michigan, and I think you're getting hit with the snow too. A little bit of a change from your week in Puerto Rico last week. Tell us how your trip went.
Yeah, so it was a really good trip. I was able to get away with my wife and a couple that we've become really close friends with. They're actually the parents of my son's wife. And so we were able to, and they're from Puerto Rico, we were able to spend 5 days there with them. And it is kind of amazing when you get away and you're able to, one of the detriments of being an entrepreneur and working from home is you always carry your work with you. It's way too easy to step into the office at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. when probably you should be dialing things down. And so you just kind of carry that with you all the time. So for me to be able to get away and not be able to just walk into the office and experience different things, it really kind of clears out your head, which I think brings more creativity when you return. It's funny how that works. You would think, while you're grinding, that creativity would be there. But for some reason, I think when you step away and you do other things, you're able to kind of come back refreshed and you have a little bit more creativity. So that was really good for me to be able to do that.
Are you trying to hint at something since I was sending messages at 8 or 9 last night working at Sasha? I think maybe you are, but yeah, I totally agree. Having those refresh weeks are definitely needed. So good to see you get away. And I know Puerto Rico is one of those things from an entrepreneurship level, a lot of people are interested in because you hear about all these people talk about Puerto Rico from a favorable tax location and other things. And so I've never been there, but definitely would like to visit at some point. And it definitely looked beautiful for those who follow Andy on Facebook or social media. Had some great pictures there.
Yeah, so let me just talk to that a little bit because I definitely have a little spark. We know you and I have followed folks who have actually established a residency in Puerto Rico because there are a number of really good advantages when it comes to taxes. And I was surprised. It's just a beautiful country. It's not as commercial as what you would see like in Florida. It does feel like you're almost in another state. And because, whatever that partnership they have, they are U.S. citizens, but it's that weird kind of partnership. And I do think that there is a lot of opportunity to potentially look at some kind of life changes in the future that might be able to take advantage of some of those opportunities. So maybe that's for another podcast, but I'm excited about that.
Yeah, if you pursue that, I'm sure you'll have a lot of people interested, including myself, on what that journey looks like. So yeah, cool to see that. All right, well, let's get into, we're wrapping up January here. We have all these things that we kind of set some annual plans around that we talked about even on the podcast. And that's really been probably the last couple of weeks, both professionally and personally. I think just dealing with in a positive way, some of the changes that we knew we need to make to hit our 2023 goals. So all kinds of activity. And before we get into some of the I know you have some arbitrage OA leads that you've been crushing it with, getting out there, letting people know about, how valuable pursuing these online arbitrage opportunities can be. I wanted to talk about the brand that we actually acquired in Q4 of last year, towards the end of the year. This was a brand that we feel like we got a really favorable deal on. We had someone come to us and offer it. The price seemed right. And we're really excited. We're really bullish on the opportunity. But we also know that our bandwidth is limited since we already have our main brand that we sell. And we had actually just a few weeks before this agreed to purchase another business. So there was just a lot going on heading into last year. We didn't know what it would all look like, but we've made some major changes just in the last couple of weeks. So speak to that, Andy, and how you're approaching this private label brand, perhaps different than you have others in the past.
Yeah. So one of the very first things that we both recognized is we needed to hire somebody in the CEO seat. Because of all the different business ventures we have going on, we understood that we can't dedicate the time that's needed to really grow this brand. So I'm excited about that. We identified, we hired the person. They're doing a great job. And we hope that, they're going to be able to really take the brand where it needs to go. And we kind of become more like in an advisor role. And so that's what we've been able to do with this person. Eventually, we'll reveal who they are. but we're excited about the energy and the effort that she is putting into it. And we think that she's going to be able to take it to that level. And because of our experience now, we're able to kind of come in and consult and offer an encouragement, offer resources that she's going to need to be able to grow that brand. And you read the books or you talk to the people that have been in business for a while. You've heard that before. Like, in order to build multiple businesses, you really have to get the right people in the right seats, and then just kind of free them, right? And let them take it over. So that's one of the things I'm excited about.
Yeah, definitely a new experience letting someone else lead the charge on this brand, but I'm really excited about it, and it will be refreshing to not have to worry about all those little things every day, right? Maybe spread it out a little bit. And along that line, some of the kind of immediate advising that we're doing and helping there is getting in just a couple key roles as well, like an operations and finance role, and then a marketing role. And just to kind of get tactical here on this brand, when we first came in, and anybody who's either starting a new private label brand or who has bought one or whatever the situation is, I feel like some of the, for a smaller brand, really what you kind of need is you have your operations and your finance. So the account management, making sure your numbers are right, and operating that account from like an inventory supply chain level, and just the Amazon account health and shipments going in. And then we have a warehouse, obviously, that we already kind of work with. So if you're doing that by your own, or using a 3PL, that kind of covers that. And then the marketing end, we're really looking at things like the social media, setting up community, and then PPC advertising. And we'll look to set up like a better Shopify website around this brand as well. So there's really not so many roles immediately that we're going to jump on. We're just going to kind of keep it fixed on those two big buckets there. And that should allow us to, with the CEO who's running it, allow them to really run with it. And then we can kind of just give this strategic direction like you talked about, Andy. So I'm really excited about that. Excited. We throw out numbers all the time. This is a brand that's already doing, close to 100,000 a month the last few months. It's under that right now, but close to it, that we think can become, a $3 to $5 million brand in the next 2 to 3 years is kind of our realistic goal, to get a good internal rate of return on the investment here. So I'm really excited. Those are rough numbers, but the total available market for this brand that we're in is honestly huge, way bigger than that. And just to kind of wrap up what we're doing here, one other big value we see in this brand is there's a lot of opportunity for repeat purchases. So I know this is kind of the gold niche that everybody looks for, right? Is these subscription style repeat purchases. This isn't necessarily quite that like you see some, but there is a lot of repeat purchase opportunities. Subscribe and save on Amazon is a big deal for this brand. So there's actually around $10,000 of monthly subscribe and save sales. So that's really nice, right? Like a guaranteed $10,000 as a base. And then everything above that is, runs through the normal organic or PPC. But one of the ways we can look at this brand is the more PPC we spend and the more off Amazon marketing we can do to acquire the customer, the more that subscribe and save both on Amazon and a similar version off Amazon eventually, once we get that set up, that cost of acquiring the customer becomes a big deal, because the lifetime value of the customer really goes up in a way that isn't quite as high in some of our other past brands that we've done. A lot of times it's all about kind of that first purchase, and the lifetime value is definitely like a second afterthought, not as big of a deal. We're trying to change that by getting more into our branding and our marketing. But with this brand, it's been super big. So and anything else you'd say on that, on the kind of repeat purchase behavior, and how you would advise someone to look at opportunities in that way?
Yeah. So again, it's one of those. It's really based on the niche, right, and based on the product. If it could be the type of product that is a replenishable product that your customers are going to want to purchase over and over. And there's a few niches that allow you to do that, and this is one of those niches. And so we think the ceiling for revenue is very high, and the profit ceiling is really high as well. So that's why we're excited about it.
So a little bit of a different journey for us. We'll keep you updated on how having a separate CEO and team operating around that goes throughout the year. But we're definitely excited about it. And Andy, you've been doing a ton of great videos on your personal Facebook feed. I've been following it and getting excited, trying to stay focused, but it definitely is super exciting what you're doing. So speak to that and, just getting fired up about the online arbitrage opportunity. I mean, where we started, again, we talked about this, but back in 2014, OA was essentially all I did to jumpstart my Amazon business and get the cash flow rolling. So speak to that and kind of where you're seeing the opportunity for most people right now when it comes to that.
Yeah, so those of you who follow us, you know that our primary business model is private label, and we're building multiple brands now. But we still love the online arbitrage model as well as the retail arbitrage. And in October, we acquired a sizable Amazon business that is a online and retail arbitrage business. So I have been now dipping my toes back in that space. And I'm excited to be now participating in online arbitrage. We have a team that provides lists for customers that sends leads right to their email box Monday through Friday. And so I've been digging into that list now as I'm purchasing products to sell on our Amazon online arbitrage account. Again, if you're friends with me on Facebook, even if you're not friends, you can go to my personal wall. Just go to Andrew Salmon's personal wall and you'll see the different videos that I've been making. And I'm still amazed, but not surprised that because of the breadth of the internet and the largeness of the online marketplace, there are so many opportunities where there are price discrepancies where you purchase products on sites like GameStop. That's what the video that I showed today. And you sell those products on Amazon. It all comes back down to economics. If you took that in high school or college, it's all about supply and demand. And so if you live in Bakersfield, California, you may not be able to purchase a product locally that I can purchase here in my area. Therefore, but it may be a product you really want. And so you have limited supply. So the demand goes higher and you're willing to pay a price premium for that product. Well, that happens online as well. There are thousands of websites that probably have a larger supply of inventory than other websites. And so they're able to discount that inventory, sell it at a lower price, and we're able then to buy that to sell it on Amazon. So lists are super exciting. We actually provide 15 lists. The average subscriber on those lists is between 8 and 12 people. And so you can get that, again, sent right to your email box. I've been going through it. The one at GameStop that I showed today, Nate, you can purchase it at GameStop for about $32.15, and it sells on Amazon for $70. So you net about a $20 profit per unit for that particular item. Now, say you buy 10 of those units, well, 10 times 20, that's $200 that you're likely going to make within 3 to 4 weeks. That's terrific ROI, right, on your money. You're not going to get that kind of ROI anywhere else. So that's still the opportunity that's out there. I'm excited as I get back into it now, as I'm making these buys, as I'm training our team members to be able to make them. It's still kind of mind blowing that 9-10 years later that the opportunity is still there, right?
Yeah, I guess one of the things, whether you're listening to this and you might be someone who's been on the sideline for a while, potentially you're getting back into things, or in my case, because I, again, am trying to stay pretty focused on where I'm at in this kind of current seller journey that I am at right now, but I still have people constantly asking me, where is the place I should start? Probably not as many people as ask you, Andy, but I still get people quite frequently saying, hey, I want to sell on Amazon. Where's the best place for me to start? So maybe just kind of speak to that briefly. Where do you see this fitting into most people if they ask you, hey, I want to start selling, but I mean, this is an inventory-based business. And the biggest, most difficult question that we all have when we're starting is, what do I buy? I guess speak to that in where you would point someone who's saying, hey, I need to get started, or someone listening is like, hey, my brother-in-law wants to start, or my, someone else, my friend wants to start. How should I direct them in that way?
Yeah, for me, this is the absolute best way. If you're just getting started on Amazon, you want to be able to learn the Amazon ecosystem. And I think the best way is when you're subscribing to lists like we provide. Because like anything, it is going to take time. I've been doing this now for between 9 and 10 years, right? And so I went from that rookie level to now I consider myself an expert in being able to analyze whether a product is going to be profitable or not. So it definitely takes time. Even if if you're just getting started, you start subscribing to these lists, you got to give yourself time. It's like anything. My previous profession, honestly, it took me, Nate, about 4 years before I finally said, okay, you know what? I feel comfortable in my knowledge and my expertise to be able to execute my job on a daily basis. Online selling is no different. Like if you really believe in the model, then you've got to be able to commit, like the one author, he says it takes 10,000 hours, right, to be able to master something. You have to be able to commit. But a great way to get started, again, is by subscribing to lists like we offer, because you are going to learn the Amazon ecosystem, which takes a number of weeks and months, and I would say even years before you become an expert at it, where you can really exponentially grow your ROI.
Yeah. And we're currently in the process actually of building out, just to wrap this up, building out our product development team more on our brand, something that's kind of always in the works, right? As we try to grow, one of our biggest objectives this year, and especially this quarter on our main brand, is just to launch a bunch of new products. And we're trying to build out our product development team. And one of their asks is, hey, what are the criteria for these buys as we're building them out that we should really be focusing in on? We're giving kind of strategic direction, but within the niches we're looking at, what should we be looking at? And they have a lot of guidance and a lot of background, but it's hard sometimes to give like a set criteria of what you should do. I mean, Andy, if you were to tell someone what makes one buy, why would you pull the trigger on it versus not? Sometimes it's hard, right? You often say this, there's the science part of it where you can give like, stay within this price range and under this BSR and make sure there's at least this many sales per month. But at some point, sometimes you look at that Keepa chart, or you look at the net profit data, and you just say, this one looks, or the number of FBA sellers that there are, and there's this art side of it where it does take that time that you've talked about. And the only way you're going to do that is if you jump in, and if you get, to your point, if you get a list sent to you every day that has 12, 13 basically like examples, or even if you don't purchase every one, right? These are like, it's like a school, going to school and learning, going through each one and be like, I'm not going to buy for this reason, or I am going to buy for this reason. And over time, you can analyze your buys and the data around it and get better. That's one of the beauties is, right? You might buy from the list in the first couple months, you are at one ROI. And as you get better at it, you kind of avoid certain things, or you stick with your niche that you kind of realize that you understand toys or shoes or beauty better than other products. And so, yeah, sometimes it's hard to give advice to other people on how you should do that art side of it, because a lot of it's like, man, I don't know why. I can't even really rationalize or explain exactly why this one's good versus this. It takes that time. So my encouragement to everyone is, you always say this, Andy, jump in, get started. You kind of just have to get your feet wet, and you have to really get that practice under your belt before you can become skilled enough to really decide where you're going to narrow in on your niches. So anybody who wants to do that, go ahead.
And let's remind people, our partner, he sells $2.8 million a year on Amazon, buying from lists, just like the ones I was talking about, and just like the ones I show here on my personal Facebook wall. 2.8 million. He's got a phenomenal business.
Yeah, which again, when we started, was unheard of. Obviously, through the years, there's been so many great systems, and the softwares have improved, and everything allow for that. That's really the beauty of it. We talk about it all the time. The average Subway franchise is what was it? 500,000, 600,000 revenue a year. So to do 2.8 million, primarily all OA, is crushing it. Anybody wanting to join the list, you can go to amazingfreedom.com/list, LISTS. You can sign up there. You can join the tribe as well to get the necessary teaching around how to do that and just being a community of other people who are doing RAOA. And Andy, as we continue to build out this new brand that we have with our new CEO, and as we try to launch as many products as possible, we're trying to launch at least 16 new products in our main brand this quarter, which for us is a lot. 16 products is going to be a stretch, but we have the pipeline built out and it's just a matter of executing. We're going to keep updating you guys on that process, how that's going. And so until next time, for Andy and Nate here, we will catch you on the next episode of the Amazing Freedom Amazon Seller Podcast. See ya.